So um, I'm here today with my friend Alex, and we were having a conversation that I thought, well, we just hit record. So that's what we're doing. And
Yes, on the fly.
yeah, so you want to say hi, Alex, and just introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Alex. And, Susan and I have known each other for many years, and we just love to riff on spiritual stuff and energy stuff. And I love everything else she does. So I'm here.
Yay. So this is the setup of the context. The context is that I have felt this morning and over the past few days, like that, how do I get organized? And I've literally felt ADHD. Now I know that's an actual diagnosis, okay, in healthcare. But so I'm saying that um, anecdotally to just say that my thoughts and what I should do, it feels like it's all over the place. And I mean, we just did have a major eclipse. We just did have a major eclipse on Friday, so, less than a week ago. And the sun conjuncted Uranus, which gives you great insights. So anyway, Alex had some cool things to say, and then we'll have a little chat about it. What do you think, Alex?
Well, it's interesting to think about organization. Isn't organization related to Saturn, or is it Jupiter? Because I'm not like 100%, astrology versed.
I'd say, Saturn, because Saturn's about structure and facilitates building a grounded on the earth structure. Virgo's about how you do your work, and she's very detailed and detail oriented. And it's interesting because in Virgo, this encompasses both your lifestyle, your work, and your health, implying that in the natural course, all these things are related. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to think about organization and how you think you should do something in a timeline or on a schedule to be very related to the enslavement of humanity. And bear with me while I say that. There's a lot of shoulds in the world. And here we are as spiritual beings, flowing our energy and wanting to be master creators of the universe. And when somebody tells you what to do, that's not from your own inner self. That's from outside of you. And that tends to come into your brain first, not into your heart. So if we think about the idea, and this is the way I live my life, and I hope Susan, who has listened to me for many years, also does.
Which I do.
We look to anchor our creations or our lives into the fabric of reality at the perfect time. And when I say perfect time, that's divine time. Like
Yes.
Earth time is a little bit different. It's very linear. The universe is here to work with us, but there has to be a trigger. So you think something happens, and then I have a desire to use my agency, my resources, my thoughts, my actual actions, my creative abilities to do something. And I always look at that trigger as inspiration. So if you get up in the morning and you feel, oh, I just really, really need to rest more, that's kind of, if you do it from your heart, you're going to get so much more out of it than if you say, oh no, in your brain, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing now.
Yes.
Then you're going to have a day where you feel down on yourself if you choose to rest, or you're going to feel very, very tired if you choose to listen to your brain and all those shoulda, coulda, wouldas and actually do what other people tell you to do. So That's the way I look at life, and with a complete focus on self-love, we find sometimes the universe will trigger us. I know with Susan many months and many years ago, the Schumann resonance triggered her and she got really, really creative. She learned so many skills in order for her to anchor into the fabric of reality the information that was necessary for the whole of mankind. Yes, we're getting a little bit grandiose here, but we're the beginning of mankind. Each one of us is a master here on earth, anchoring divinity into incarnation, and each one of us has a role. So if we follow our intuition and our feelings in our gut when we observe something, is this something that I really want to do? You get a kind of little bubbly feeling in your tummy that's good. Yes, I'm going to do that. If you feel a little closed down or very closed down, nope, that's not on my soul path today. I'm just going to keep doing what inspires me, what brings me joy, what makes me smile, what brings me love. And it's amazing because even things like doing the dishes, all of a sudden you feel like I'm doing the dishes because I'm supporting my family. And look, this water here is here for my use. And I'm so grateful for that. And isn't this the greatest? So I know it sounds silly, but when you do things through inspiration and through joy, your life flows to exactly where you're supposed to be on your soul path. And that's the way I live. Do I have ups and downs? Absolutely. Are we supposed to live in a linear line like this? No. We're supposed to have those ups and downs. You want to know why? So that when you feel that heart centeredness, which Susan calls 0 point, it feels amazing. If you were there all the time, it's like lukewarm water. You don't really feel it. You only feel the really hot and the really cold.
Yes.
That's where
Yeah.
I'm at.
Yes, I love it. I love it. This organization, here it is. Okay, so it's in a jumble, and in the last 2 weeks, I have sort of the world things, where I've got deadlines, I've got people that need things from me, and the deadlines, some of them I've had to push off. And so when I wake up in the morning, I'm kind of responsive to, okay, wait, I've got these things in the human world and dates. And then I've got my inner guidance. And as Alex said, I also, I go with the inner guidance unless I get into disconnection, in which case I'll eventually notice it and reconnect with the inner guidance and shift.
I would make one note too.
Yeah.
If we could live by like a 70 30 rule here,
Yeah.
things would be amazing. I'd love to get to the point where it's like 90-10. There are times we have to interact with the world, with humanity, the human plane on a timeline. And that's because we're here, we're in the world, but not of it. Okay.
Yes.
So, yes, when you have to deal with density, sometimes you have to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do this. But I always then say to myself, and then I can do what I desire to do and what I'm inspired to do after that or before
Yeah.
that,
You give
right?
your inner child a reward.
Exactly. The inner child is so
Yeah.
important to me.
So what's happened is very interesting because like you said, I tend to most of the time go with that inner guidance. The deadline, the physical human world deadlines have been pushed off essentially, and that now it's this day or now it's that day. And I was sitting here this morning, and after you and I started talking, and I was thinking, you know what? There is, in a way that I don't understand right now, that there is divine perfection in this timing. The deadlines are shifting easily with me not, if I didn't have the God inspired energy, I'll just say soul
Mhm.
inspired energy to do that day, I just didn't do it, but the deadline shifted. And so there's actually, I was just telling Alex, um, after the eclipse, so we're recording this at a time where there was an eclipse within a week, and then the sun conjuncted Uranus. And I've had these amazing insights, and I've been able to shift because of doing the spiritual work, right? Because of taking that inner light and applying it, focusing to say, you know, I choose to, there's something here that I know I'm not seeing, right? There's a shadow aspect. I choose to focus this inner light on that, and then just praying um, for assistance. And I've been working with Jesus on that, with Jesus Christ on that, and Archangel Michael. Um, and over the past few days, someone suggested to me that I needed to forgive. Okay, it was incredible. That I agreed. Okay, I agreed, body, mind, and soul, with her that yes, I needed to forgive in the situation we were discussing. I literally woke up the next day, and of course, I engaged with the guides. Praying for that wound to be taken from me and to heal the soul, heal myself at the soul level, which is something that praying medic um,
Mm-hmm.
uses. His phrase is that you give your whatever the emotion is to Jesus, and then you ask to to be healed at the soul level, the wound at the soul level. So I just want to give credit for that to him. That's where
Mm-hmm.
I got that.
And,
But
and I will say,
yeah.
what's interesting to me about timing is, let me just use an analogy here. Say I'm cooking a dinner and I'm just throwing it together and I taste it and it tastes okay, and I know it's nourishing, and then I just serve it to my family, right? Or if I take the time to cook it longer, to put more spices in than the recipe calls for, and I feel inspired to serve it on really pretty plates, then we have this wonderful meal where everything has come together. So sometimes, if you look at divine timing, you may desire from a human standpoint to do, be, or have something at that very moment. You may not be ready for the joy that it will bring you if you wait, prepare, add new resources, add new insights, as you just said, Susan, and then experience it, because the universe wants you to be joyful. The universe
Yes.
desires for you to be inspired. The universe wants you to create and
So
create things that are amazing.
before the eclipse, I was simply, forget it. I'm just going to shortcut everything and just, meet the deadline. And I checked in with my spiritual guidance about it. And I point to the heart because this is, in my view, where the soul connects. So
Mhm.
I'm not talking about emotional or mental. I'm talking about literally communing with the divine source, the source of my soul, the creator, God, the creator of all that is. Um, and I got no. Okay. And little did I know that I'd have this big shift. Yesterday, when I was working on the tasks, I was just zooming and getting all these insights. It
Yes.
was awesome.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, really.
Yeah.
When we listen to, as you say, divine guidance, or flow with the universe, or just focus on the perfection of, I can feel it in my gut that this is the right time, or I can feel it in my gut that this isn't the wrong time, and you absolutely can. We all have intuition. To me, if I observe something and my, solar plexus right below the heart. I mean, when you're experiencing perfection of flow, your heart just explodes in awesomeness, right? Uh, but you have that little antenna that's lower that says go right or go left.
Yeah.
And so if you listen to that, you'll know. And if you start to feel like a really negative turning, it means this is not on your path, first of all. Second of all, you shouldn't be focusing on this now. There's something else you need to look at.
It's really interesting because last week when I was trying to complete these tasks, it was essentially as you're describing the energy, right? And I'm at the point where I can tell spirit-filled energy, the divine, the divine
Absolutely.
energy, spirit-filled energy versus not. It's a very big difference. And it's kind of, I talked about this in a recent live stream when I
Mhm.
talked about the rules for our energy environment. And what I said was that there's different rules if you are essentially disconnected from God versus if you are integrated or connected or desiring, even just having the desire in your heart. And you don't need to say it the way I'm saying it, because I could say this, my soul, I could say my divine source. And um, but what I'm saying is, and you're talking about it beautifully, talking about, your home, which I adore. When I have that divine source, that inspiration flowing for my work, that's when the creation is aligned. When I try to force myself to do something because I have to meet a deadline, the energy is not there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no God sourced inspiration in it. God bless you. And if I have to, if it's in my highest good as a living human being to complete that task, then that inspiration will come and I will complete it in divine timing. And if it's not there, then it's in highest good for me to miss the deadline, to not do it. And the thing is that I don't know. So this is trusting without proof. This is faith without without intellectual reason. And these things can be very stressful because in the human world there is this social level of obligation. And an obligation, like you said at the beginning, you mentioned, that you felt that the concept of organization was part of like a slave system in terms of our, in terms of humanity. And this is, I'm in agreement with that here, because it's a system that's essentially godless. It has no divine source in it, and therefore it's operating for its own means and its own agenda. But we feel
I
this
would also,
obligation,
yeah, and I would also very strongly state
which
that
I do not consent to. I
I don't
apologize, but I don't
consent either.
consent.
Obligation removes choice. Therefore, it removes your free will choice. And
Yes.
as a sovereign divine being, you are here to have free will. So, obligations, whether it be to family that are against your highest good, obligations to society that are against your highest good, these are all calls for you to step outside of your heart, and
It,
they
it
all feel awful.
yes, yeah, it does. It feels awful. And then as a human being growing up in society, we have to, we don't have to do anything, but there's a possibility to break free from all of this entanglement, and the way to do that is the living soul within. So I've got I can't really, it's kind of hot, but when you bring, so I like to, when you bring the light of the soul, and you bring that, you have it lit in your heart, and then you bring it to this level of organization, or to the request, or to the social obligation. When I have that light of the soul alive in my heart, and I look at this, whatever it is that this is representing, I can sense if there is any resonant soul energy in it or not. If there's not, it's, as you said, it's not for me.
Hmm.
Not for me.
And I would also note that there are certain times when we're participating in society or having to do something, and we think of it as a toil, right? Sometimes we can flip it around and think to ourselves, This is supporting me. Now, however far away that support is, if it is supporting you, if you look at it with self-love and you say, I will participate in this to the best of my ability because I know at some point this is going to support me. Whether it's peeling potatoes so that I can eat my delicious dinner, or whether it's, going for a walk because I know that it helps my body, or whether it's putting my trash out so that I know that my house doesn't fill with garbage. So there are ways to flip these organizational things or human level things where we see that level of self-love because that thing is supporting us.
I love this, and how I would say it, because I consciously do this in my experience too, as you know.
Hmm.
And so what it is it for me it's a conscious desire and willingness to bring the soul energy, to bring divinity into my daily human experience.
Hmm.
And I had to break through a lot of this to even think that I was worthy of doing that, that God wanted to be in this daily human experience. And so now, I love what you're saying about, you're cooking with love, you're cutting the mushrooms with love because it feeds your family. And this is what I do. I walk around my house, and similarly, I walk around my house now and I emit love. And how do I do that? Okay. I look at the furniture and I feel this. Okay, I've got the light in my heart. Okay, I got this soul light. You can't see it, but it's right here. Or maybe you can if you can see auras. And I be in this light and I look at the furniture and I just look with love. And I look at the air in my home and I apply love to the air. I look at the level of the soul. And what this does is it raises the frequency of the environment and it brings a richness to our personal environment. And so we just talked, I love that you brought in the astrology earlier. And I mentioned in Virgo that, organization would be related to, in the human world, our work in Virgo, but also that Virgo is about our lifestyle and health. And so you can see how it's so perfect. And I think we should wrap up soon on this high note. But, it's so perfect how we just talked about applying inspiration to the work and that divine connection. But now I'm applying it to the environment of my work. I'm applying it to myself, to the people that I live with. And having grown up in an environment where, this wasn't the case, simply because we didn't have the skill sets back then.
No.
We didn't know.
Well, I'll finish with one little story. So now I love to iron for my husband.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Now you say to yourself, oh God, ironing, why would you love that? Because I know that it supports him
Yeah.
and that eventually it will support me. But I also take out the iron and I sit there and I flow the love into the fabric through the iron and I fill those shirts with love. I do the same thing when I make his lunch. I fill, and Christina's as well. I fill the food with love. And many years ago, my husband was talking to a friend of his who they were getting takeout for dinner, and the friend said, "Oh, what are you having for dinner?" "Oh, I'm not getting takeout. My wife's making spaghetti for us." And he goes, "Oh, really? Is it good?" And he goes, "My wife fills everything I eat full of love." And I had never told him that.
Ooh.
Okay. So people can sense it. People
Yeah.
can sense it. So if you operate with divinity, whatever your team setup is, everybody has a different one, asking to anchor things in divine timing in the perfect timing, listening to your gut, listening to your heart, doing those things that inspire you and bring you joy, and also understanding that sometimes you will participate with society in ways that you may not really want to do at that moment, because we all have that this is unfair. I mean, Susan and I talk about this all the time. You get that, like, I'm a spirit, I don't have to do this, right? But sometimes you do. Most of those things end up supporting you at some point, and if you could find that connection, you'll do that thing and you'll feel pretty good about it. So that's where I'm at. Thank you so much. Blessing you.
Thank you so much, Alex. And I just want to summarize what just happened. You know, we went from and I want to summarize because this is a process that people can repeat for themselves. We went from a human concept, a societal concept of organization. We found the divinity. We brought forward the divinity, and then we brought it into life. And the joy, the shift in the feeling in the physical body, as you said earlier, is so much more when we live this way. I'm in deep gratitude for our conversation and our conversations. And thank you so much for being here with me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. Blessing you all.
Blessing you all.